Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, whatever you are doing, and welcome to Just a Flower podcast, where I, Mario Velez, speak graciously, constantly, and probably way too long about all of the wondrous things that we have here on this planet. This is an optimistic podcast. It is a quixotic podcast, if you will. If you dare, this is a podcast that seeks to make almost everything seem like it's meant to be, like it's optimistic, like there really isn't any ultimate evil that would ever win. So if you're a positive person, if you are a not so negative Nancy, if, you know, you would rather caution on the side of never error, then this podcast is for you. And what does that even mean? Well, we'll get to that in a minute. For now, I just want to share a little poem that I was inspired to write this morning. Just a flower, a seed born, fresh as any spring, too delicate to tuck away, too alive not to sing. You grow so fast, you challenge time and everything that keeps it. Your leaves and stalk stretch far and tall so everyone can see it. A bud appears at the crown where everyone is looking. As you feel the sunshine, your blossoming begins. The weather unpredictable makes stories of the seasons. You have a dream or many, and only for your reasons. A flower lasts for just so long, we miss it when they're gone. Though you've wilted 100 times or more, the last one cannot be ignored. Upon the closing of your light, you see the many in your sight, all who have a life from you. Eternity, all at once, rings true. Why is this podcast called Just a Flower, and why am I so adamant about being optimistic? Well, there are a couple of reasons for it. I've always been this way. I've always been cartoonishly optimistic, crazily idealistic. I've always believed in all of the dreams that I've ever had, and I'll tell you that the only thing that got in my way, and this is sad, is me. If ever I didn't do something that I wanted to achieve, I just didn't do it. And that's the bottom line. Now, of course, I'm not in control of everything. I'm not God, right? And it's not like I know exactly what's going to happen next. We really shouldn't do that. That's not necessarily what this podcast is about. But I am going to talk about life. I am going to talk about that thing. You hear this line a lot, especially in our times, and from millennials, the generation born between 85 through 90s, I don't believe in God, but I do believe in something. And that's what I want to talk about. I want to talk about that essence, that purity. And I'm not going to avoid the words spirit, God. I'm not going to avoid talking about Messiah figures. And I call them figures because I really doubt any Messiah ever told themselves, I'm going to save the world. Most of them sound like really awesome people who just got put in that spotlight. But I do want to talk about the nature of this existence. I want to talk about why things are the way they are. Why was the pandemic so hard on so many? Why is it that after the worst time that we experienced together as a planet, did we all kind of like seek? I live in a really small town up in Michigan, actually down in Michigan. And it was funny because I had always been a fan of meditation, but it wasn't until after COVID, until 2022, I think, when This one spot, I didn't frequent it a lot. I visited only a couple times to meditate. This one Buddhist temple, Sokagoji Temple. They had maybe 8 regulars there for a time, for many years actually. And I myself didn't even have the time to go. But in 2022, I tapped into a live stream that was happening, and there were at least a dozen, if not probably 20 people altogether. I mean, that's a lot more. It definitely fills a room. You think maybe, oh, it's 20 versus 8. I mean, that's like barely twice as much. You see the bodies, and they do feel thick, you know? They do feel like they're very much there. Just that gain. Oh, a little too much. Let's see. There we go. That's a little better. So, what is this all about? This is just about you. This is just about me. This is just about people. And it's just about how do we make it in this world? What is this place? Why does it work the way it does? And I'm going to let you know, I don't have every single answer in the universe, but I will be talking about modern mysticism, about American mysticism. It's not a subject that comes up a lot. In fact, I believe there's only one or two truly great, truly celebrated modern mystics, or at least from my life, from the 33 years that I've been here on this planet, and the 13 that I have spent actually diving into myself and diving into spirituality and diving into mysticism. There's only been 2 truly profound people that have kind of taken the reins of mysticism and done whatever they wanted to with it. The first is Dr. Wayne Dyer, rest in peace. And the second is Baba Ram Dass. May he also rest in peace. And these 2 figures were huge in my own personal development. Of course, there are other mystics. There are a lot of priests. There are a lot of pastors who are extremely popular. But there are no truly, I don't know, there's no one who's tapping into mysticism in America the way that I feel would be fantastic. And I'm going to join the myriad of others, YouTube and Spotify and Anchor and all of these other places where people are talking about mysticism and what it means to have a spirit while being on this planet. It wasn't something that I discovered all at once. It's something that I wondered about and that I tapped into very readily and very eagerly, but that people need guidance with and that people want guidance for. We're all really doubtful of ourselves, especially when we ask, is this all there is? I mean, is there more? Could there be more? And maybe we should preface this with the way that most Americans have grown up. Most people around the age of 30 plus in this country have grown up with an extremely oppressive religious background. And I say oppressive because that's what it is. It oppresses those who do not conform to their way of thinking. Who are they? Churches, Christian ones, maybe some Islamic ones, sure. Maybe some synagogues, sure. But the majority of people who have lived in America have been accosted by 1 or 2 Christians. And it's unavoidable, even if you are part of the church, being a good Christian, doing everything that they tell you to do. It's almost impossible to avoid because the whole point of these churches is not to make heaven real, but to find the devil in everything and to attack it. Like the devil doesn't grow off of that or something. That's some really wacky logic right there. And something that I have full-heartedly never believed in from a very young age. I think really, I mean, I knew about church and I loved the idea of Jesus. I loved the stories of Jesus, and I loved the words that he said, but only the really good ones, the really specific ones. And really, that's all that was ever shared to a lot of our youth, unless your family was all hardcore Christian, Mormon, Jehovah's Witness, some other denomination that is extremely fervent in the way that they practice their spirituality, their religious spirituality, right? A lot of us grew up with parents who didn't have the time and didn't see the value in going to a community that just talked, which is funny because now the number one thing that people are doing on Twitch, besides watching people live stream video games, is talk. Just chatting is like one of the most popular topics on there, if not the most popular topic. And it's probably going to stay that way for a really long time, probably forever. But why? Why do people want to hear people? Most of the time, people are like, God, I hate people. Man, traffic sucks. Geez, Starbucks is just, the lines are crazy. Oh, that one person who served me. Oh my God, my boss. Oh my God, my coworker. All of these things. You hear it every day. You think it every day. You're like, oh my goodness, what? Why are people just, why? They give you the ick. Because we're set up that way. Because we're not looking for people. We go outside that door that we call home, that entranceway to my place, and we just don't want to see anybody. We just don't want to deal with social interaction. It is too hard now to be a normal person. What? It was hard for me too, for a while. But I'll tell you what, it can get easy. You can become happy to go out there. You can. It's not impossible. It's actually really dumb once you figure out the trick. It's so silly. You're going to kick yourself once you figure it out with me. We're just flowers, guys. We're just something that happened. There's a lot of people who want to try and figure out how. A lot of scientists who want to figure out, well, how did it happen? And that's amazing. That's perfect. That's beautiful. It's a curiosity. It's their own blossoming happening. And they want to blossom into the past and the future and see what is there, what can be there, how does it work? And that's awesome. That's incredible. We're the only creature. We're the only kind of creature on this planet that wants to know that. Isn't that crazy? The birds never go, gee, what happened before me? They don't go, what's going to happen after I'm gone? They probably don't even think about it. But they still suffer. They still feel loss. Many birds only have the one mate. So if you think monogamy is really not natural, well, I mean, like, look at the birds, yo. But that's the beauty. That's the beauty of being human. We aren't just an animal, and we aren't just an ego. We're not just a mind. We're not just a mentality. We're something else. Oh, we're very real too. Don't you dare think, oh, this guy's full of it. I mean, you can think it. I don't really care. You can think whatever you want to, really. But don't ever tell yourself, ever, that the thing that you're feeling, that thing when you see someone you love and you just, people say, you took my breath away. That's not what's really happening. What's really happening is a gasp. It's more like you gave me the first breath I ever held on to. Yeah, yummy. Oh, I love those words. And you feel that with poetry that resonates with you. If you hear a jumble of words and they don't mean anything, whatever. If you hear a jumble of words in a different language and they mean something to a whole group of people, but you don't understand the words, it gets lost upon you. That thing that feels when something resonates, That's how you know you're more than just a body and a mind. And yeah, you can say, well, the brain is managing chemicals and then producing some and just making sure. Okay, sure, you have a mind. And yeah, it's probably the strongest thing that you have gathered up right now. It's probably the strongest thing that you've kept in the toolbox. But there are lots of people without a mind, and they have a life, and they have a life force. And you don't need to try very hard to see it. You just look and say, that's alive. That's definitely got something inside of it. And what do we do when somebody's gone? Even the way I'm saying that, it points to the wisdom inside of what you know to be real, inside of that aspect of yourself that is outside of time and outside of space. Because when we resonate with something, something really deep, something at the very core of our being, it's like we've known it was going to be there the whole time. That's where the concept of true love comes from. Twin souls. Manifested destiny is, sure, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy, but true destiny, the stuff that people go, man, this was always going to happen no matter what. I was always going to do this no matter what. I was always going to make a podcast like this no matter what. That stuff feels timeless. That stuff feels more real than your dreams, than anything you've ever done in life. And why? Why? I don't know. That's what this podcast is about. That's what this is about, is to figure out, why are we doing things in a certain way? Why are we just flowering here on this planet? What's the point? It's a question that has been so completely abandoned because we've been so distracted by all the cool things we're making up, right? With our brains. Look at this camera. I mean, I'm looking at it. You can't look at it, but I can look at this camera. There's lights on my side. There's a massive monitor here. There's another monitor here. I'm lucky about the computer thing, okay? I've got a nice big old computer. I've got an AC for this room. Even the paint was something that was, man, it was made and invented and built upon over many decades, but recently has been perfected, and people are still improving the things that people everywhere else think, oh, this can't be improved. Now there's such a thing as an airless basketball. Did you ever think, if I came from the past, from the future, sorry, and went to the past, and I met you when you were a kid, and I said, you know, basketballs one day aren't going to have any air in them, and they're going to bounce even better. Wouldn't you look at me like I was an absolute idiot? Wouldn't you be like, in absolute cartoon gibberish? It doesn't make any sense. To our mind, as we assume the things that we know are instilled in stone, but facts, like rivers, change. They flow, they ebb, they build up, they rise and fall. Rivers change, and life changes all the time. And deep down, when we're sensitive enough, when we are able to be aware of the things inside that tell us what's the best thing to do right now and why, or even for no reason, but it just feels right. When we tap into that, we're able to do something extraordinary. We're able to seem as if we can tell the future. We're able to seem as if we just knew where to be at the right time. We're able to do so many things when we're more aware of those kind of things. And I know you're like, well, what is it? What is it? What's the secret? I'm telling you, man, you're going to kick yourself once I tell you. We got to go through this whole long spiel. Otherwise, you're not going to be invested enough to understand. If you can't spend another 10 minutes just listening to me ramble on about how crazy cool life is and how awesome the earth is, then you're not going to even pretend to accept the trick, the silly little trick that makes all of this work. What are you talking about, though, Mario? What are you talking about? All this work? Come on, nothing works. Everything's chaos. It's crazy. The universe is crazy. Yeah. I know. Have you not looked at the stars? Have you not seen the craters on the moon? The sun itself has spots and flares. Space is a vacuum, and yet there is something there that we cannot see that is keeping the whole galaxy together. And all we can say, it's got to be dark matter. I mean, it's dark. Obviously, we're not looking at it. Can't see it. No x-rays are picking up any crazy huge black holes. The gravity, we've accounted for everything that we know and see right now. So what is going on? We don't know. We have no idea. And that's the crazy part. We're in the middle of a mystery. But all anyone wants to know is, oh my God, when's the next episode of that show coming out? When do I get my lunch? When is the traffic going to blow up? We're deeply immersed in our experience, and it's an addictive one. Being human is really crazy addictive. Have you seen it? I mean, people usually stay on it for, well, their whole lives. So, but it's becoming less popular. I know. I got dark quick. If you ever need help, always reach out. Always. At least get another person's perspective. And try to feel for who's best to talk to. There are professionals on hotlines, and you've already seen them probably if you're hearing this and it resonates with you, but people are getting tired of the human game. And it's not because of them. It's not because people are just weak. Ugh, I hate that argument. There's no such thing as a weak person who's able to just leave. There's a movie that said once, and I'll quote Cloud Atlas, it actually takes quite a lot of courage to leave everything you know behind and dive into a greater mystery. And the truth is, it doesn't take only courage, it can also take quite a lot of despair, quite a lot of pain and suffering. Have you ever seen a flower drop a leaf because it just doesn't have enough water? It just doesn't have what it needs. It's so stressed that it yellows where it should be green. These things happen, and it's a tragedy. And it's one that I can't fix all by myself. In fact, no one person could ever do it, except the person who is feeling that way and saying, no, I'm going to keep trying. And I commend everyone who's survived. Every single person. I've had dark thoughts too. Super, super dark thoughts. And it's hard to talk about. It's hard to be vulnerable. I hope everyone who ever hears this, I hope everyone who never hears this, has someone that they can go to when they're super desperate to feel something other than what they're feeling. And just be held. Just be held. We feel so broken. We feel so shattered. And it's not even easy for those to hold us. It's like holding a bunch of broken pieces together. Sometimes they cut into you. Sometimes it bleeds over. But we can get there. We can do it. How? How, Mario? Quit teasing me. Quit leading me on. This is ridiculous. You're talking about sad shit now. I thought this was optimistic. It is. It is optimistic. But it's a totally different brand of optimism. I'm not here to sell you anything. I'm not here to give you something that you can't take with you everywhere. I'm here to give you the goods, baby. I'm here to give you the stuff that'll work forever. The stuff that's been working with me forever. The stuff that worked before and after my darkest periods in life. So, what is it? What do you do? What is it that's making this better? How do I do it? All right, are you ready? I'm telling you, you're gonna feel dumb. Not when I say it. Maybe a little bit when I say it. It's like, man, I've been listening to this guy this whole time. He told me this. This is the trick. Oh my God. Not when I say it, but after it starts to work. You're going to feel like you should have known. You're going to feel like, man, how did I not know? You're going to start realizing real quick afterwards, like, oh, geez, even when I wasn't aware, I was doing that sometimes. Even when I didn't know, it was working in that way sometimes. And even when I had no idea, other people were doing it around me to feel better. Other people. How did I not know? Well, I'm going to let you know. It's not your fault at all, okay? It took me 33 years to be confident enough to start talking about this. That's literally 13 years after I started already having the answer. And of course, everyone's story is different, but I'm telling you, it's not your fault. Earth is a really wild place, and human beingness is a very immersive thing that when you don't know how to work your systems perfectly, and none of us are guided perfectly, you end up making mistakes and you fall in the pits and you think there's no way out. I mean, it happens. It's how life is, okay? Do not ever, do not ever kick yourself in the butt for being naive. That's how we're born. And it's for a reason. It's for a reason. There are reasons why we're born that way, both biological, scientific, and metaphysical. It's for a reason, okay? But most of the time, the reason is it's the best way to do it, okay? Or it's the best that we know of so far. We're just all trying the best we can. We all know that already deep down. We just like to be really hard on the mistakes because for some reason, some time ago, one parent or another said, I should be able to know just by being here. The only thing that we ever know just by being here is we need to breathe. And that is the trick. We are just a flower blossoming every day, looking for that thing that makes us want to open up and feel like we are so beautiful just the way we are. To produce a fragrance that sure others have, but only mine is this way. Only you are the way you are. And that's the trick. We're just a flower. You just need to breathe. I know. You're. Wait, did I miss something? Let me spell it out for you. Let me spell it out for everyone here who's maybe doubting what I said was the trick. Listen carefully, okay? Listen to what I'm saying. This is as easy as I can make it. Just breathe. Just breathe. Don't worry about your thoughts. They're going to be there for a while, okay? They're not going anywhere. You know that. You can't resist it. It's your thoughts, it's your brain. All you can do is manage that. All you can do is tend to the garden of your mind. But if you really want a trick, if you really want to feel better in any situation, no matter what, whether you want to feel more stable, less chaotic, more energetic, less energetic, whatever it is that you want in that moment, whatever it is that you need in that moment, all you need to do is breathe. Oh, well, I'm breathing right now. Okay, yeah. I get it. Are you breathing on purpose? Did you know you could do that? Did you know you could breathe on purpose? That's a thing. That's an actual thing. I'm going to take this little moment here. I'm going to look for another poem that I wrote in one of my books. My first book published, 114 Quixotic Visions, a vision for every of the naughty chakras in my system. Something that I was inspired to write that talks about my life specifically, and really like just my life. Really, I mean, I'm just saying. But it's the first moment in which I totally accepted myself. So, what do you mean? What do you mean? Well, listen, okay? Breathe entirely by choice. yet not always like you want to. Sometimes a love or scare will take what is required. It's not just air, it's not just gas, it's feeling that you're more. You're conscious of the very fact your breath can't be ignored. Are we conscious of that ever? Do we really know when we're aware of our breathing? Have you taken any time to just breathe? I'm telling you right now. I'm gonna pitch it. Okay, it's been 30 minutes. You've been listening to all this stuff, right? Whether it's been inspiring or you call it bullshit, all right. I'm telling you, the trick is to breathe, and the trick is to focus on it, and that's it. That's the only trick. I'm telling you. I'm not joking around. When I figured this out, when someone told me, I didn't understand, and then I had bumped into I found The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. I found Manifest Your Destiny by Dr. Wayne Dyer. I started listening to some Sadhguru years later on. I found a person who knew how to meditate, and he taught me, and it worked out brilliantly. I'm telling you right now. No mysticism, no bullshit, no hocus pocus, no visions, chakras, nothing, okay? If you want to just feel more alive, focus on the thing that shows you're alive. Breathing. It's that simple. It's that easy. Don't listen to a word I'm saying. Don't believe anything I say at all. Don't fall in love with the mystery. Don't become optimistic. Stay pessimistic and cynical. Go ahead and keep on thinking the darkest thoughts ever and keep on blaming everything and everyone around you for the way that you feel. Go ahead, sit down right now and just focus on your breathing. You're in the car on your commute. Breathe, please. Can you please? Please. Just a little bit. Just a little bit of breath. Tiny bit. Even now, just one breath. Sigh. If every breath is ammunition for a sigh, at least you know how you're breathing. That is not my line, by the way. I quoted that from a behind the scenes reel of A Series of Unfortunate Events with Jim Carrey, which I think I will say right now is the superior version of A Series of Unfortunate Events, only because Jim Carrey is in it. And I love what the new guy, I forget his name, I'm so sorry. Love what the new guy did with it, but Jim Carrey, when he was on that set, somehow he like was that guy. And he said that when he was acting as one of the sailors. Every breath is ammunition for a sigh. It's just, so instead of the sigh being like a soft one, it's like a pow pow pow. Like I just love the way he said that. It's beautiful. Anyway, do it. Come on, do it while you're here, while you're listening to this. I'm only going to do this for another few minutes, okay? It's just going to be a really short one for what we're doing now for today, for this very particular podcast, for introducing everyone to me, for introducing everyone to what I talk about, to spirit, mysticism, hokey pokiness, whatever you want to call it, okay? This is just about you and what you are on this planet. What you are. Like, there are more. You've met aliens, Mario? I mean, do you know? Can you tell? Okay. Besides all that crazy stuff, okay? Breathing, man. Let's keep it simple. Just breathe. You think I'm kidding you when I say we're just a flower? What's a flower need? Sunlight, water, air. Done. What do you need? A little bit of sustenance, a little bit of sunshine, a little bit of air. Some of us don't even need sunshine. Some of us are dark creatures. We just stay in the night crawlers. You know what I mean? And that's cool. That's awesome. That's the beauty of being human. We have a variety. We have so many ways of doing this. There's so many ways. How can you not see that as a miracle? I'm sorry. I'm going to challenge you. I think it's miraculous. I think it's crazy cool. And there are very many people who are all over the spectrum of mysticality, if you will. There are people who are very grounded, who are completely atheist. Love them. They're the best because they don't have anything tying them down. They have no crutches. They know that they are full-on human beings and they are miraculous for being human. They don't think that the word miracle means something that's inordinary. They think that it's a miracle that we're just people. Isn't that beautiful? That's the atheist way of thinking. Isn't that beautiful the way it is? And Christians, right? They think that they're children of God. They address that they're from something they don't know and understand, and they're from it and they know it. Do you think the atheist thinks very differently from a Christian? The atheist does not know why the Big Bang happened. The atheist does not understand why this world is the way it is. They have many reasons as to why things are happening. They have many pointers to chaotic functions in the universe that seem to not make any sense. And those things, when culminated together, have created this incredible universe, this incredible world. But do they have optimism? Well, it changes from person to person, from atheist to atheist, from Christian to Christian, from Muslim to Muslim, from Jewish to Jew, from every single kind of denomination, from every single place in the world. There's a variety of people. In fact, it's almost cliche that there's a variety of people everywhere. It's crazy that there is so much going on. It's insane that this world is the way it is. And yet, what are we doing? We're minimalizing the miracle every single day. But why? Why? He's right. He's right. There's this like quality of mundanity everywhere. Why? Why? It's personal, unfortunately. It's not the same reason for every person. That's the thing. There are some people who think that skydiving is mundane. Okay? They're there. Believe me. I mean, think about it. If you were a skydiver instructor, you did it for like 15, maybe skydiving is not exactly the best example. Okay, hold on. Okay, how about this? There are people who think managing traffic is lame. But you know what else? There are people who have been managing the traffic at my children's school for years. They had been doing it for years before my kids went there. They will be doing it for years after my kids go there. Do you think that they're not happy doing that? Do you think that you can just manage traffic and be unhappy? Oh, well, you don't need to be happy to do a good job. No, you don't need to be happy to do a good job. But if you've ever been unhappy doing a job, don't you feel that gratiating friction, that tension, that lack of reserve inside of you? Right here in the same spot where I said that you know when your true love is being felt, that you know when you see your favorite food, when you see your favorite candy, when you see a good movie poster, when you see your family members after a long time, that same spot, it can feel the other way around. It can feel tired. It can feel beat up. It can feel worse than ever before. It can feel broken. It can feel abused. Yeah. And a lot of us are very, very convinced, and it's not our fault. Please remember, it's never your fault, okay? This is supposed to happen. This is exactly the way it should be happening. It's normal, homie. It is so normal to feel this way, okay? Everybody feels this way at some point. It's just we end up being in a place where we think we can't get out of. We end up doing what we think is best, whether it's because it's expected of us, whether we think it's the best choice, whether we think it's the most stable, the most profitable, the most peaceful, whatever prioritized feeling or situation that you have in your mind that you say, this is the number one thing I need to focus on. If your entire life or the time that you started focusing on that thing in your life has become so drab and so boring and so that you don't even feel good coming home to the wife and kids, that you don't feel good when your dog is happy to see you, that you don't feel good when you meditate, that you don't feel good whenever you feel the presence of the universal source or the force or God or whatever you want to call it. If you're in such a way that your everyday activity is making you feel less like breathing and more like sitting still for a long time, something needs to change. And that something is what you are doing But you will never figure out what else to do until you sit down and breathe. I'm telling you, look at me. If you're on a video, look at my face. Look how serious I am. Hey, sit down. Do some breathing, okay? I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. Do it for any amount of time that you see fit. I'll tell you the tricks about meditation. I'll tell them to you now. But even a minute of just looking at your breathing, dude. Just close your eyes, okay? Sit comfortably. Don't look up what's the number one most powerful way to meditate. How do I meditate the best? Because the first thing you're going to find are people trying to scam you, okay? People that are trying to teach it. Maybe not. I mean, I've never looked. I've always been very confident in myself. I've always been very aware that if I am a human being and we are the most miraculous creatures on this planet, then it probably just takes a little bit of attention to figure out exactly how to do a thing. Probably. I mean, think about it. Think about it. What does it mean to even focus on your breath? It's just a little bit of attention. Just a little bit of attention. You know? And this is not me who said it. I'm not making this up. I'm figuring it out in my heart. I'm trusting myself to say the right words, but I've had a lot of experience. I've had over 13 years doing this stuff. And for a good chunk of time, I tried to tell myself I didn't need it even. You know? So I've been both sides. I've been on the dark side. I've been on the light side. I'm telling you right now, you're going to kick yourself when you find out it's the trick. Okay? That's what I do every time. If I ever stop practicing meditation, and now I'm on a really good batch of, I've just not been stopping for months, you know, for almost a year now. I've just been meditating every day at least once. Now I do it twice a day for the last month, but that's a whole other story. Once you actually sit down and just breathe, things are just going to line up. It's going to be weird. You're going to wonder, wait, but I just, no. It's just air. It's just air. In fact, there was there's a poem in the new book that I'm making now. Is it that one? Yeah. No, yeah. I just started finishing my new book called Gray, and it's a book where you enter the mystical things of life, right? And that mysterious zone that feels like, what? Is this even real? That's what this one's about. So for all the beginners in here who are like, wait, this guy's actually like not super obsessed about all the crazy stuff. He's kind of more sensible. You know, I get it. Okay. Like, we need it. It's fine. I needed it even. All right. I was that way for a while. I'm still that way. I'm just able to talk about all the other hocus pocus stuff. So anyway, air, a different kind. I swear. This is a different kind of air. If it was the same, then I would be tired. I would blame something. I would take a nap by 12. I would be ornery. And probably sounds insane, but I swear something is different about this air. It can't be my pose, my crisscross, my palms up. It couldn't be my eyes closing or my attention focusing on my lungs, my breath, my lack of mental charms. It cannot simply be that I am following my breathing. There is something in the air today. I swear. You know what's funny about this? There is something in the air that day. It's you. It's your attention. It's your focus. You are in the air now. And you'll feel that way. You just close your eyes. It's like you are the air. And then when does that separation between you and everything else begin? No, I've got skin, I've got hair, I've got a body. Yeah, you've got those things, but what are you really? Can you find yourself? I'm right here. No, your body's right there, dude. Your body's right there. Well, it's my mind. I'm my mind. No, you have thoughts, dude. You have thoughts. You have them. But if you lose one, if you forget something, are you gone? You've forgotten a ton of stuff. Man, come on. Let's be real. You forget something when you walk into the kitchen, okay? He's like, what did I walk in here for? Are you lost? Little bit. Are you gone? No. No, you're just distracted. You're just not focused. It's okay. It's fine. And I've got to say it again. I've got to say it again. It's not anyone's fault. It's everyone's fault. It's the whole world collectively. It's just how things have been going. It's just for a billion other reasons and tiny minutia. And you know what? If you just sit down and you just breathe, you're not even going to feel like caring about the blame. You're too happy. You're too done. All of that stuff that you were worried about, all of that, oh, whose fault is this? Why'd you do that? Why'd you do this? You're breathing now. You're focused. You're fine, and everything's good. And then why? Why would you waste your time being mad? Trust me. And it'll only be. It's not like, oh well, then I'll never be mad again. Everyone's just gonna walk all over me. No, 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 no. If you're a person who lets people walk all over you, you're just a very kind spirit. You might even be, an angel on earth, whatever. Okay, but I'm saying you will still be human. Okay, you are a human being. All right, you're playing the role of a human being, and that thing inside of you, that thing that is making the heart move all by itself. Okay, yeah, people are gonna say, well, that's the tiny bit of electricity when my brain is telling my heart to move. Actually, your blood pumps a lot longer before your brain starts moving, and your brain don't even move. It just kind of jiggles at a certain resonance with all the electronic little neurons firing off and all the little chemicals, the dopamine being transported across those little wirings, and all that gray matter and white matter. And yes, we have white matter. It's actually the stuff that makes you mirror the mirror neurons. They're the stuff that makes it easier to lie, right? The stuff that makes it easier to perform, you know? Um, that stuff is just another collection, okay? But between the mind and the body, you have something else, pancaked right in between them. Is he going to say the word? Is he going to say the S word? A soul? You can call it whatever you want, okay? I don't really care. I don't really like words are just words, okay? Who gives the meaning to the words? If you don't know another language and they cuss you out, you're just going to be like, oh, it's so cool, a new language. Thank you, thank you, thank you. But if you know the words and you know the intention behind someone's words, then you have to give it meaning. Your brain does it almost automatically. Here's what doesn't need to be automatic. Here's what doesn't need to be automatic. Yes, that's kind of like, it's a strange kind of like insurance mechanism, right? You don't need to be aware of how to do a damn thing. You're just automatically going to live. Boom. And your brain is going to automatically make assumptions and enhance knowledge and have memories and make up dreams. And even when you sleep, you're going to create worlds inside of a fake place in a vacuum of only your experience. There's so much, man. There's so much. We're going to start with this. We're going to end it right here at 15 minutes, right? And we're going to start with just this lesson. You are just a flower. And it's okay. And you're beautiful the way you are. And I'll share this last bit with you. Maybe we'll go over 50, but I'll share this last bit with you before I leave, because I could talk about this for days. I'll tell you what I believe heaven would be like for me. If I had it my way, and I went to heaven and I did exactly what I wanted to do and got exactly what I wanted for heaven, That means the place that you go when you die and you know you deserve to go back to the original place, to go back to where everything is good again. Okay? Yes, a lot of people think it's made up, all right? Yes, there's some evidence, it's not a lot. Okay, just drop it for a second. You get the idea of heaven. All right? Let's just talk about it. What would it be for you? Think about it. What have you always asked for heaven? Is that something that can happen today? Maybe. Focus on your breathing. See if maybe you can get it. My version of heaven. And I thought this way back when I was like 15, 16. And I thought, it would be so cool if when I get to heaven, every person I ever met, every person who ever saw me in a room, or whoever I ever passed by, every person who I've ever met in my life and who has ever had an impact on me, I wish I could just spend a good amount of time with them, each of them personally, individually. I wish I could be with every person I've ever met and just say hi and give them a hug and say, how are you? Both of us in heaven. And just ask them how everything went. And just say, hey, how was it? What were the hardest times? What were the best times? Are you okay now? I would love to do that. I would love to just be with everyone I've ever been with my whole life. Because you're great. Because people are amazing. I'm not joking. I don't think it's silly to think that. I think everyone's amazing. Even my enemies, I would spend a little bit of time. And I only have one really bad person in my life that I ever thought, oh, you're my enemy for sure. And it's only because they made me that in their own life. So I don't want to make someone feel stupid. So I agree. Okay, you're my enemy then. Why would I make an enemy out of a flower? It doesn't make any sense. Why would I make an enemy out of someone who is stuck with me in the same planet? That doesn't make sense. We can all get what we want, but we're a little confused as to what that is. We're a little perturbed as to the idea of wanting something, even sometimes. A lot of the time we wonder, man, I know I want that, but why, when I get it, it just doesn't feel enough. It doesn't feel right. Do you remember the trick? I'm going to tell it to you one last time before I leave, okay? Just breathe. I'm not kidding, man. Just breathe. I promise. I promise. If you just breathe, just focus on the air. If you have thoughts in the middle of just breathing, cool, good. Your brain's working. That's good. That's a good thing. You don't want it to stop working. But instead of having any more thoughts on the thoughts, if your thought pops up, just look at it. You're not focusing on the thoughts anymore. You're focusing on the breathing. And if you forget and you do judge your thoughts and you go, oh, geez, I shouldn't think that. Once you notice that you're doing it, just, oh, I did that. Oh, okay. And then just breathe again. It's okay. I'm going to tell you right now, if you can get to a point where you can do that with every thought, where you can go, man, I'm thinking again. Take a meditation with you wherever you go, with every step, with every thought. Imagine how much clearer you would think and feel. Imagine how much more alive you would feel. I'm telling you, you're going to kick yourself. I'm telling you, you're going to wonder what is different all of a sudden. Even I don't really know. Okay? But I do know the results of that kind of practice. You feel better. You feel like living. That is the important part. You don't feel like, oh, every day. And trust, and also let's be clear. Let's be clear. It's not a remedy immediate. It's for every single thing immediately. Okay, this is not it's just like every other thing in the world. Time patience, it materializes all of the return. You have to invest a little bit more in yourself. Invest in what? Yourself. I do that all the time. I'm doing everything for myself. It'll make more sense if you just sit down and breathe, okay? just do it, I promise. And I'm talking to you like this because that's how I finally ended up talking to myself after I finally sat down and just breathed. I was like, really? Really? It's that easy? God, why? Why did I do that so wrong the whole time? Why? I beat myself up for years because why didn't I know something that no one taught me already? Don't beat yourself up over it, man. Do not beat yourself up over it. Okay? The world's already done plenty of that for you. The whole world. Some of us get some really shit parents. Not me. I mean, I had a pretty good upbringing. Not perfect, but not terrible. And I still love my parents, both of them equally, for all the things they've done for me. But is it your fault? Really? This whole world is caught up in its own storm. If you want to be an eye in it, if you want to be a bright light in a dark place, if you want to feel like you know where you're going finally, if you want to feel like everything has finally taken a break from beating the shit out of you. Oh yeah, I'll cuss too. Don't worry about it. Take a minute. Take 5 seconds. Take half a second and breathe. The only warning I'm going to give you, the only thing that I will tell you to be careful of is how fast you will become addicted to it. You will wonder, my God, how did I ever live without this? And the crazier thing is, you might actually get an answer. Thank you for sitting here with me and listening. Thank you for driving to work and listening. Whatever it is you're doing, thank you for listening. You're the reason I'm making this. I'm here for you. I'm not here for myself. If it was just me, I would just be breathing. Crying tears of joy. Because that's how good it is for me right now. I breathe and I get high, and it's like a drug. Can't get enough of it. I'm telling you. And I'm not talking about hyperventilating or making some kind of weird system malfunction in such a way where I get some weird, silly side effect. Nope. I'm high on life, baby. I'm high on being alive. And I'm telling you right now, even if you've got severe depression, anxiety, whatever, it'll help. It'll help. Sit down and focus on your breathing with your anxiety. Sit down and focus on your breathing with your depression. Sit down and focus on your breathing with all of the problems that you have. You might still have depression afterwards. You might still have anxiety, but you'll have a little bit more life in you. Just a bit more. Just a bit more. And just like nutrients in the air, from the sun, and in the soil, you've got to have a good amount and a good supply of it to really feel like blooming. Thanks again, everybody. This has been Just a Flower. And I hope that you are flowering too. Until next time, goodbye.